everyone, this is Jenny Earhart with the Southern Sisters radio program. Tune in to our show every Saturday at noon on AM 920, where we talk about life, love, happiness, lots of Southern food, and Southern culture in general. You can also catch our show live on Facebook, so check out our videos at Southern Sisters with Jenny Earhart. Southern Sisters Radio, the show for Southern women and the men who adore them.
Welcome to Southern Sisters Radio, the show for Southern women and the men who adore them. Join us as we celebrate life from a Southern point of view. Now, here's your host, Jenny Earhart.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Southern Sisters radio program. Boy, do I look forward to, hanging out with you on a Saturday afternoon. It's beautiful in the South. Gotta kind of love our February weather in the South. You know, when other parts of the country are snowed under.
Right, we have spring.
I need a little sunscreen. You know, my left arm always gets more sun than anything else.
Right, well, it's the driving arm.
It's the driving arm. My dermatologist told me that for a lot of folks, they tend to have more freckles and maybe problems on the left side of their face.
I didn't think about that.
How about that? So do you think in Great Britain, would it be the right side of their face that gets in more trouble?
I'm sure it probably does, right?
Whatever side's facing the window.
That makes sense to me.
How about that? No, I'm loving Southern weather. If February could be like this every year, I think I'd be really, really happy. The only thing is I'm sort of balancing the nicer, slightly warmer weather with my, the abundance of heavy comfort food that I like to consume in the wintertime.
I know. I do feel like I kind of got shorted out of the soups and the chilies a little bit. I really do.
I feel the exact same way. Those heavy casseroles, I feel like I need to eat a salad when it's hot outside. It's not quite as much fun. Well, folks, we are here for this week's episode, the Southern Sisters radio program. We are the show for Southern women and the men who adore them.
Yes. Like me.
Like Nick adores me, and you adore your wife.
Yes.
You adore the women that are in your life.
Of course.
Right? And we bask in that adoration.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Well, that's what we men are here for, right?
That's how it works. That's how it's working. Well, you know what we're going to be talking about today on the show, and we hope that you guys stay tuned for the whole thing. We are going to be talking about an issue that's kind of near and dear to my heart, because there's been a little bit of let's just say a little issue. Little scuttlebutt that happened in my county that has to do with school bus safety. I'll fill you in on that, but I just thought this is a great opportunity to do a segment about school bus safety, whether you are a student on a bus, whether you are the parent of a student that rides a bus, or whether you might be one of those drivers that is driving on the road alongside school buses.
It's probably the most important one, being that third one.
It's essential,
really.
Right? Because you're driving a 2,000-pound machine there. So it's important that you understand all aspects of school bus safety. We want our students safe on the roads, right? So we're going to talk about that in the first segment. Then we're going to roll on in. And this one's kind of for the guys. Sometimes I feel like we don't give the guys enough attention on the show.
You talk plenty of food. We like food. We all like food.
True. That's true. Okay, so other than the food segments, this is something I think is kind of beneficial to all you guys, and it's what to look for in a woman.
Oh, okay.
How about that? If you are the parent of a young adult male, like I am, actually, I hope that he makes really good decisions about the women that he's involved with, right?
Right.
We used to call that when I don't know if this is appropriate, but we used to call them DBHs. That's
DBH.
Southern women. Now I did not coin that phrase. Don't bring home.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that bad?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty bad. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but you know what? If you follow my tips and suggestions for finding the perfect woman and what attributes to look for, you boys won't have that problem, right?
You make Mama proud.
Mama will fling the door wide open. And then we are going to wrap up the rest of the show. We are going to be covering, I love this, I'm so excited about these segments. We're going to be covering the 35 top Southern foods that you should eat before you die.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
All 35 of them. We're going to try to get through them in the second segment.
Okay.
We love customer feedback on that, right? So this is just something that the foods that you would want to eat over the course of your lifetime, or in my case, this weekend. All at once. I could do it. Nick.
I believe in you, Jenny. I believe in you.
Anyway, guys, we are going to be right back in a moment with school bus safety. So hang in there. And welcome back to the Southern Sisters Radio Show. Do you recognize that music?
No idea. What's that from? Never heard it before.
That's the Peanuts, of course. That's the Lucy and Linus song.
Love it.
That's the name of it. David Benoit. And that is Lucy and Linus. You know, for some reason that seemed perfect for a subject about, school buses.
That's true.
School age things.
Well, because most of the kids on the bus hear the bus driver as wah, 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 wah.
Just when I think Nick can't get any more talented, he whips that one out. That was fabulous. Can you?
That's pretty point on.
It was
Can you
good.
tell I've watched a lot of Peanuts?
I can tell you watched a lot of Peanuts. One of my favorite things. They don't make cartoons like that anymore, do they?
They don't.
The music was great. Vince Giardi, I think, Gilardi, he did a lot of the music from I've got a lot of their songs, some of the soundtracks on my iTunes playlist.
It is great stuff.
Yeah, my crazy mix. We go from Van Halen to the Peanuts to
the scary Halloween sounds.
Scary Halloween sounds. They're still on there. Oh, and I've got all of the tracks from Napoleon Dynamite as well. Yes,
amazing.
That's
Perfect.
thrown in there as well. Well, guys, did you know that every school day, 25 million children ride a big yellow school bus? How about that? Did you ride one when you were growing up?
Oh, of course.
Me too.
Everybody got on the big Twinkie to go to school.
Oh, the
Come
big
on.
Twinkie. I loved it. I remember being a little girl, and it was a big deal. When I first got to go to kindergarten and got to get on the school bus, it was a huge deal. Now, fast forward to 9th grade, not as cool anymore.
Right. Well, I remember the big deal for me was in 5th grade. You were
Yeah.
a 5th grader. You got to sit in the back of the elementary school bus.
Okay.
And in 5th grade, you got to open and close your window if you wanted to.
No way.
Oh, man.
So the 4th graders just had to sweat it out.
The
They didn't
4th
get-
grade, you kind of it was like kindergarten up at the front and work
Yeah.
your way to 5th in the back. And then
Right.
5th graders in the back could open and close their windows. Man, we were hot.
I get you. That's right. The good old days, simple pleasures in life. I always say that's the key to happiness, appreciating the little things. Well, yeah, I didn't, I think long about maybe 10th grade, I started wanting to find older friends that would give me a ride to school. Because it wasn't so much fun to hang out at the school bus,
Right.
the school
Not
bus
so
stop
much.
anymore. But yes, guys, 25 million children each day ride a school bus to school. School buses are among the safest modes of transportation. Did you know that? Safer than riding in a family vehicle or even walking. That's according to the National Safety Council. But there are some real risks when kids are getting on and off the school bus, okay? And as they walk to the school bus stops. The National Highway Transportation Safety has said that these are the tips that need to keep drivers and students safe. We're going to run through a few, and they're categorized, okay? So we have tips for drivers. Let's start, because most of us listening, that's where we are right now, right? We're the drivers. So you want to look. Number one, look before you back out. Okay. Watch for children walking or bicycling to school or heading to the school bus when you're backing out of the driveway or leaving the garage. I'm a big fan of those backup cameras.
They are.
Yeah. My car
amazing.
doesn't have one, but I've said to myself that, eventually when I get a new car, if I trade up, I said that, especially since, grandchildren, as
Right.
those become, more, I have more of them around
Absolutely.
me. I want to make sure that I'm safe backing out. So walk around your car or out to the sidewalk to check for any children about to cross your path before you, get into the car. Also, guys, be on the lookout when driving through neighborhoods. Please, please, please slow down. I've actually seen one of my neighbors yell at a driver, like she was standing in her yard and a car was going too fast and she yelled at him and he slowed down.
Yeah.
You don't want to be called out by the nosy neighbors.
No. Especially if you're that morning getting on the bus or home coming later in the
Yeah.
day. You got to slow down because, the kids aren't going to pay attention. They're just going to run across the street, go to get home.
They're not watching. They're not watching. So be on the lookout when you drive around. Drive slowly and, watch for children walking in the street, especially if there are no sidewalks, right? And be aware of children playing or standing around school buses. Also, be alert and aware on the road. Children are usually taught to look both ways before crossing a street, but they could dart, children don't always do what we tell them,
No, unfortunately.
right? So they could easily dart into traffic without looking, especially if they're running late or if they're distracted, okay? And also learn the school bus laws in your state, okay? Like in the case of Georgia, where we are, flashing yellow lights indicate that a bus is preparing to stop. That's to pick up or drop off children. So drivers need to slow down and prepare to stop. Red flashing lights and an extended stop arm signal that indicates that the bus has stopped and that children are getting on and off. So cars must stop a safe distance away and not start up again until those lights stop flashing and the stop arm has folded back. Got it? Some people are under a misconception that it's only when the stop arm comes out that you have to stop. It's not. As soon as you see those flashing yellow lights.
Yep.
That's your warning.
You don't pass the bus when you see that. You slow down.
No. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in this segment. You can get into some big trouble if you do that, right? Now, here are some tips for students, all right? Number one, good thing a student can do, be an early bird, okay? Try to be at the bus stop at least 5 minutes before the bus is scheduled to arrive. Then you're not rushing, perhaps running, darting across the streets. That was hard for me. I was always the one running out without my coat.
Like as the bus lights, and you're like, wait, don't leave me.
Oh, have you ever missed the school bus? Did you ever miss it? Oh, yeah. And then you skulk back into the house knowing that you have to ask your mom to give you a ride to school?
You missed the bus again? Yes, I'm sorry.
You did that on purpose.
Yep.
Also, tips for students: maintain a safe distance, like stand at least 6 feet away from the curb when the bus approaches, right? And keep the line away from the street. Like you don't really want, it's better for the kids not to line up along the street. They really need to start at the curb and go back.
Right.
6 feet back and then head back straight. Get the all clear from the bus driver. Okay. And the bus drivers will teach the kids this. You know, they need to not only be looking at the bus, but be looking at the driver. That they want to wait until the bus stops, the door opens, and the driver indicates that it's okay to go ahead and get on the bus. Okay. Also, remain visible, students, at all times. Folks, remind your kids this. If you have to cross the street in front of the bus, walk at least 10 feet ahead of it before you cross. Why do you think that is?
Well, that's because usually they're shorter than the front of those big, massive buses.
Exactly.
Right?
You got a 6-year-old, right, crossing in front and walks too close to the front grill of that bus. That driver's not going to see them.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of them have that yellow arm that comes out on the front to make them go so far away. Yeah. But you just have to be careful because, unfortunately, the littler kids, that arm, when they close it, that arm comes back in real fast. Hits them, knocks them down. Yeah. It's happened before.
It can happen.
Yeah. So you definitely got to make sure.
With tragic consequences, right? Also, use the handrails, right, to avoid falling. Because, you know, those bus steps are steep.
They are.
I see those little ones get on sometime, and it's like climbing a mountain for them to get on there. But be careful to make sure your clothing and backpacks don't get caught on the handrails or the doors when exiting the bus. I read a story about this where a little girl's backpack got caught on some hook or something on the door, and she was dragged a little ways before the bus driver realized.
Oh my gosh.
Frightening? Never walk behind the bus.
Oh.
Okay. Again, always make sure that you're in the driver's line of sight. You know, it's like one of those things, if they can't see you, or if you can't see them, they may not be able to see you. Right. So if you're behind the bus.
It just popped into my head. I remember that when I was in elementary school, our bus driver, when we got off the bus, we usually had to walk around the front. Mm-hmm. She made us put our hands up in the air till we got to the little bus stop area, which was on the side of the road. Yep. She used to say, when you get off the bus, put your hand in the air till you get over to this curb.
Really? So she can see you.
And we would just leave our hands up. That's a great idea. Maybe teach your kids something like that. That's definitely a good tip.
Great idea. Absolutely. If you drop something near the bus, kids, tell the bus driver. Never try to pick it up, right? Because the bus driver may not be able to see you. I've seen this happen before. I've done that before. Dropped something getting on the bus and it kind of rolled under the bus. Yeah. You know, you don't want to be getting off and climbing under the bus, whatever you do. Now, you know, here in the state of Georgia, this has been an issue. We've had some issues, I know, in our county about school bus stops and issues with giving tickets to drivers that do sort of end around stopped school buses. It's a serious problem in our state. And I know that in my county, you care to guess how many drivers a day? And the numbers vary depending on whether it's sort of towards the beginning of the school year. You know, when the school first starts back, people are still getting used to the buses being back on the roads, right? So the incidence of violations tend to be higher, I think, you know, towards the beginning of the year. But they catch as many as 900 violators per day.
A day?
Can you even fathom that?
That's absurd.
Yes. And if you've had an opportunity, as I have, to see some of the videos, the near miss videos, is what they're called. These are videos that are taken from cameras that are mounted either outside the school bus or inside the school bus. You know how some of the school buses have cameras to kind of combat things like bullying on, you know, this sort of thing, and just safety issues. But I've seen several of these. It will make your heart stop to see. I watched one particular video that showed the camera was beside the school bus driver, and the camera was angled like out the door, like so you could see the kids that were getting ready to get on the school bus, and they're standing maybe about 12 feet from the school bus door. She's stopped the bus. She's opened the door. 3 little children start to step off the curb to walk towards the bus, and a white SUV going exorbitantly fast shoots between the bus and the children. Oh. The children had to jump back to avoid being hit. they interviewed one little girl later, and she said, it ran over my foot.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine such a thing? It's frightening. And that's not the only one. I've seen videos of cars that literally drive up on the curb on the grass to get around a school bus. Insane, folks. Anyway, have you seen any of this?
Oh, yes, absolutely have. And that's the thing. If you ever wonder,
right.
should I stop for that school bus? The answer is yes.
Yes, just do it.
Even if you don't have to,
No.
the answer is yes.
Just do it.
Because if I'm not mistaken, the only time you don't have to is if there is an actual physical median in the road and they're on
Exactly.
the other side.
That is exactly
If you're on
right.
a quote-unquote 5-lane highway, you still have to stop.
Exactly.
Because there's no physical median in the road.
Listen to Nick, y'all,
There you
because
go.
this is exactly what I was getting to. You know, we have this thing, the Georgia school bus stop law. It's called Operation Stop Arm, and in Georgia we have cameras. Many of the Cobb County school buses have cameras on the stop arms, so they are able to take video records of what's going on around the bus when the arm's out. Okay, and if the cars go around after the lights are on.
Which means they go and get a picture of your tag.
I think it's about $300.
Hey.
Maybe it's $150. It
Should be more.
It should be a lot more. Absolutely. But in the state of Georgia, folks, you got to stop. It's the law. Now, Operation Stop Arm enforces Georgia's school bus stop law. All right. Here are the different scenarios and when you have to stop. If you are on a 2-lane roadway, right? So just one lane going one way, one lane going the other. When the school bus stops for passengers, all traffic from both directions must stop. If you're on a 2-lane roadway with a center turning lane, same thing. All traffic from both directions must stop. If you're on a 4-lane roadway, we're on a big roadway now, guys, without a median separation, all traffic must still stop. Right? If you're on a 4-lane roadway with a turn lane in the middle, so technically then you got a 5-lane road. Guess what? You still have to stop in all directions. There is only one circumstance, and my eminently intelligent producer Nick mentioned it just a moment ago. There is only one circumstance under which you would not have to stop for a stopped school bus that has its lights on and its stop arm out. That is a divided highway of 4 lanes or more, right? With a median separation. Okay.
Right. Which let me also let people know some of these smaller back roads we have around here, it's 2-lane, but with that little like maybe 8-inch wide piece of grass in the middle.
Right.
That's a 2-lane road. You must still stop.
Right.
Because it's not a 4-lane highway.
Okay.
You must still stop.
Did you hear that, guys? Because it is a little confusing. It can be. And I have to admit, I have been on a 4-lane road before with a median and seen a school bus, and I wasn't sure.
And you know what? Then stop. Let the people honk at you. Go for it.
Yeah.
Better than maybe getting slapped with a ticket.
Isn't that
or
the
even worse,
truth?
hurting a kid.
Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. We don't. So once again, guys, if it is a divided 4-lane highway and that has an actual median separation, you know, a cement, grass, some of them even have trees. Even if it doesn't, if it's a solid median separation, then only the traffic in the direction of the school bus has to stop. The guys on the other side do not.
Right.
There you have it.
There you go.
So decreasing your speed will reduce serious hazards and promote safety awareness. So it's important to follow these laws for the safety of school bus passengers and all drivers on the road as well. Did you know that failure to comply can result in fines up to $1,000 and up to 6 points on a driving record? How about that?
Good.
Depending on the violation. We had a crossing guard in Cobb County last year that was killed
Yeah.
because of just this such thing. We had and there have been many, many incidents of injuries and death. There was a little 5-year-old girl in Cobb County that was killed about 2012, I think it was. And that was sort of the catalyst for introducing this stop arm
Right.
law, the stop arm program. So I think it's wonderful. Stay safe on the roads, guys. Keep your kids safe and my kids safe and Nick's kids safe, right?
Please.
We're going to be right back with tips on finding the perfect woman. How you like that segue? And guess what? She stops for school buses. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Southern Sisters Radio Show. Are you listening? Men, Are you listening?
All right, boys, listen up.
Women too.
Ears open.
Listen, if you're raising a young man, these are things to train him on as well, right? Okay. Men, it's time to get a little bit serious. So finding someone to spend your life with is just as important to men as it is to women. Society likes to pretend that men don't worry about these types of things, but that is just not true. Dating and finding a compatible match is an important part of adulthood for a lot of men, and that's why it's extremely important. Not just a little important, extremely, never to ignore these signs of a good woman. I'm going to run through them. Okay? All right. 8 traits of a good woman never to ignore. Number 1, patience.
Oh, yeah.
Patience. Now, that will be important later on in life, right? When she's having to deal with you dropping your clothes on the floor. Patience isn't considered a virtue for nothing, right? A good woman is patient. She doesn't insist on necessarily instant gratification. Not everyone who has the ability to be patient. That is true. So you want to keep your eye out for a woman that, she's patient enough to tolerate your less desirable attributes.
Guilty as charged.
We all have them. I've got them too, and Earl has to tolerate them. Number 2, a good woman should be encouraging, guys, all right? Good women, a good one's not going to tear you down all the time. She's going to encourage you. This is one of the major signs of a good woman. No matter what your life goals are, she's always going to be there to stand by your side and be your greatest cheerleader in the little things and the big things. Right? It's important. Number 3, how about loyalty? Okay? It can be hard to come by this day and age. That's why loyalty is a sign of a good woman. It means she's got your back and she's not going to do something to hurt you. She's going to be forgiving. How about that?
Oh, yeah. Definitely need that.
Need a woman who is forgiving and who is slow to become jealous. And that's hard for a lot of women. We all grapple with that just a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah, so not so much on the jealousy. Empathy, that's important as well. It's for her ability to feel what you're feeling is important. If you've met a woman and she doesn't seem to be able to empathize with your situation or what you're walking through, that could be a red flag.
Yeah.
Humorous. Well, there you go. I will say I'm fairly strong in that category.
Yes, you are.
I think Earl does appreciate my humor, if you ask me. And she's got to be fun, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And listen, ladies, if you're from the South, you're fun. We are just fun by default. Fun by nature. So if you're raising a boy, or you are a boy, or you're in the market for a woman, right? Well, then these are some things to look for.
Absolutely.
Tuck them away. I'm going to post these on the website. Yeah, Jenny's Guide to Finding the Best Woman, right? Just go to southernsistershome.com, click on the blog. You'll see it listed there, as well as some of our school bus safety tips that we talked about earlier. We are going to come back after the break, guys. We are covering, I'm so excited, we are covering the 35 best Southern foods that you need to eat before you die. I'm eating them all this weekend. We'll be right back.
Turn off the telly, Nelly. Come to the table, Mabel. Now sit up straight, Kate. It's time to eat, Pete. Have a banana, Hannah. Try the salami, Tommy. Get with the gravy, Davy. Everybody eats when they come to my house.
The South. Welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio program. That's right. The South is a world of humid summers, country music, renowned colleges, right? Go Dogs. And of course, incredible comfort food dishes that you can't find anywhere else. Before coming to the South for school, I didn't think much of it. But after experiencing all that it has to offer, I realized coming was a good thing to do. We moved here when I was going into the 8th grade. I guess it was 8th grade. We relocated here. My father was in the service. He was in the Army, so we lived all over the country. I was born in the South, but moved away and then returned. And I remember at the time, it was like a pilgrimage. We were living in Alaska at the time, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah. My mother used to my dad would hunt, and he'd kill a moose. And we would eat moose for months and months and months.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like ground beef. Yeah. She'd make moose and grits, moose stroganoff, you name it. But I remember when we came back to the South, it was like a pilgrimage home. We were returning home. And so that's in the South, I have to tell you. If you've lived here for any length of time, we've got our own sorts of culinary specialties, right? And all I got to tell you is that I've got a list of 35 of them here that you have got to eat before you die.
Okay.
Right. And as I said, I can eat these on a regular basis. So I've eaten everything on here, I think. I bet you have. Nick, I want you to tell me if there's anything on here that you haven't eaten.
All right.
Okay. Number 1 Southern food that you must eat biscuits and gravy.
Oh, duh.
Right? You're probably going to say that for most of these items because they're just, how can you not, right? So the biscuits in the South are prime, but they're way better. They are way, way better when drenched in creamy sausage gravy. Mm-hmm. Hello. It's nowhere near as good for you, right? It's not at all good for you, but it's definitely worth all the butter and sausage fat that goes into making such divine masterpieces, right? Biscuits and gravy is the perfect Southern breakfast for sharing with the family or just by yourself when you're, missing some good comfort food. I would eat it for dinner.
Oh, yeah. Biscuits and gravy is good for any time of day or night. Yeah. Any time of year. It's always good.
I mean, it's biscuits and sausage, and why not?
It screams the South.
It does. It is so. I'm getting distracted right now thinking about it. Okay, biscuits and gravy, guys. Number 1. Number 2, Southern barbecue.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
We've talked about Southern barbecue on the show before. We've talked about the 5 mother sauces of Southern barbecue, right? Hey, do you know I recently had some of that good white North Alabama barbecue sauce?
Really?
It's good.
Huh.
It's a mayonnaise-based sauce, but you thin it down with vinegar and pepper, and you drizzle it. It's really good on smoked turkey. Oh, I'm getting off topic again. Speaking of smoked okay, so I made Earl plug in the smoker last week. And for some reason, we've used it many times before, but this time when we plugged it in outside, it kept blowing the circuit.
Oh, no.
So he drags the smoker through the backyard to his workshop out back, which is, he's got this separate little building out in the backyard. That's where he does his shop stuff. And so he uses the outlets out there, right? Because it's got a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, and so we put a turkey breast in there and smoked it all day, right? The dogs in the neighborhood were coming over to our yard.
Oh, yeah.
That's how good it smelled. And, oh, my word, was that good. I forget how good smoked turkey is. And for what you pay for a pound of smoked turkey at Publix, if you're getting,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think I paid like $11 for this big turkey breast. And it was we're only halfway through it. We've been eating turkey sandwiches all week. Delicious and economical is what I have to say. Okay, back to the list. There are a number of different types of barbecue in the South, ranging from pulled pork slathered in a sweet ketchup-based sauce to herb-filled dry rubs massaged into various slabs of meat. But no matter what, they all pack a flavorful punch that will leave you with a huge, satisfying smile and possibly a face covered in sauce.
That means you enjoyed it.
Right. And girls, you just got to get over that, right? You just got to get over it.
I will say, we just talked about trying to, things you need to look for in a woman. Men, if you go to some outdoor event and there's barbecue and you see a woman
licking her fingers,
oh, yeah. She's a keeper.
She's a keeper. Don't give her back. She can enjoy good Southern, but you were that's just such a nice thing that you can say about. I know, right? Okay, number 3, shrimp and grits. Oh. All right. Now, grits are the epitome of Southern breakfasts, but they're made into a satisfying and hearty dinner when you pair them with shrimp and maybe even, I like to even do additional toppings like maybe some cheese, bacon, maybe a few veggies. You can kind of load it up. I used to do a grits bowl. I used to do it years ago when I used to go and I'd be a guest on the Moby in the Morning radio show. Those of you may remember Moby. He's a great country DJ, does a lot of great commentary. I used to go and visit on his show occasionally, but he always wanted me to bring food. So I always knew I had an invitation to come on the show if I brought food.
There you go.
And one of his favorite things was I used to make this grits bowl. And Earl, he's a deer hunter, so we always had ground venison or sausage in the freezer. And so I would build up this grits bowl. And so you'd have these yummy Gruyere cheese grits, which is just grits when you stir some cheese into them. It's not complicated. People try to make it sound, it's not. But and then I would put that in the bottom, and then I would layer up the spicy ground venison sausage. You can use pork sausage if that's what you have. I'd do some more sprinkled cheese on top. Then you could get crazy. You could do some chopped onion. I used to even put a few little sliced jalapenos on there. I would kick it up. Some diced tomato. Really, just about anything. That was my grits bowl.
That's awesome.
It's so good. But if you're from the North and you have no idea what grits are, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say to you. I love you, but, bless your heart. No, you know what? All of us have been that way. There was always the first time you had grits, and you probably remember it. But what grits are, in case you don't know, they are coarsely ground corn kernels boiled until soft with either water or milk. Okay? Now, their creamy texture is balanced perfectly with shrimp, and that makes a great light dinner. So there you have it. The third thing you need to have before you die if you're in the South, and that's shrimp and grits. Oh, yeah. Mac and cheese.
Is this a Southern thing?
Yeah.
Huh.
No, they eat mac and cheese elsewhere.
Yeah, but it's a different kind of. I'm talking the
Yeah,
mac and cheese that like ooey gooey. And it's,
Yeah. Well, I think up north, don't they eat it out of a box?
we do sometimes down here, but that's not the mac and
I'm
cheese
just
we're talking
kidding.
about.
No, I know.
And
I
it's
know.
not
You know what? I
like
will say, when the kids were younger, if I needed them to make something quick and easy, they'd do those little, those little microwave things.
We got them in the house too,
Yeah.
but trust me,
They're great.
if I want some mac and cheese, we're not doing it that way.
It's the kind that sticks to the pan.
Oh, yeah.
Just anyway. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. Okay, guys, Southern mac and cheese is not your average mac and cheese. It's pretty much 20% mac and 80% cheese.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Which is in no way a bad thing, okay? It is the definition of comfort food, served either as an entree or on the side with other delicious Southern dishes. It's very common, like in barbecue restaurants.
Yes.
As a side.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, how about fried green tomatoes?
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
Right? Fried green tomatoes. Yeah, it is a thing. It is a Southern thing for sure.
Yeah, very much so.
Now, they're actually just regular tomatoes that haven't fully ripened yet. Did you know that?
Huh.
Did you think that they were a different variety?
I will admit I did.
Okay.
I don't do much in the way of growing. I just do the eating.
Well, and you do know how to do that. So do I. In fact, I always tell people, they say to me, you write cookbooks. Wow, you must really love to cook. And I do. Yeah, I love to cook.
yeah.
It's okay. But that's not the motivation. Are you kidding me?
It's not the slaving over the stove.
No. It's the eating,
I don't
ladies
have a beep over
and
here.
gentlemen.
I need one.
I know, right? Who would think that food could get me so fired up? I am so sorry. Yeah, no, actually, with the fried green tomatoes, you're using a tomato that just has not fully ripened. That's why you get more of a tart, astringent flavor that's perfect for frying. Got it?
Ooh.
Now, in the South, fried green tomatoes are typically served as an appetizer, right? Or in a sandwich. Have you ever done that?
I've done a BLT, but instead of regular tomato, it's a fried green tomato.
Yes, yes. Oh, my word. So good.
Yes.
I've had it on they even do it on a burger. You can do it on a burger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You can put one on anything. I like mine served with a remoulade sauce, which is just a mayonnaise-y, spicy little sauce. Just kind of put a dollop of that on the side. You know what? I was going to mention the BLT because that is a great way to do it. You can also... in the South, it's sort of that classic, everything is better fried. I don't necessarily agree with that because there are times when I feel like Southern cuisine has gotten a little bit of a... I know people admire it and look up to it. I think it gets a little bit of a bad rap when you start thinking that every Southerner eats heavy, butter-laden fried food every day. We don't.
No.
Here in the South, we produce a lot of wonderful fresh produce, fresh vegetables, and things of that nature. My philosophy on that has been, and I often say I'm not necessarily your classic old-fashioned Southern cook. I'm more of that nouveau Southern cuisine, utilizing all of those good ingredients. But I personally think the less you cover it up, the better.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't cover it up too much. Not everything has to be in a casserole. Now, having said that, I will qualify by saying you do not skimp on the cheese when it comes to mac and cheese.
No, you do not.
You don't skimp on
So
it.
I have to ask, though, real fast.
Yes.
Fried green tomatoes by themselves,
Yes.
with or without ranch? Buttermilk ranch.
Oh, well, you know what? 9 times out of 10, when I order them in a restaurant, I get that buttermilk dressing on the side.
All right,
It is good, don't you think?
I say there's something that just seems so natural about a fried green tomato with some buttermilk ranch.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's perfect. Yeah, no, I say yes.
Okay, good.
The answer is yes.
Got Jenny's seal of approval.
Now, believe it or not, chili. Now, some people don't think of that as a Southern staple. But you know how we are here in the South when it snows?
Yeah.
We don't do it well.
No, we don't.
No. But chili, believe it or not, is a Southern staple during the winter months when you're too cold or lazy to cook anything else. Okay? It's perfect to prepare on a busy day. I'll do it in the crock pot sometimes, right? Because all it really requires is that you throw a bunch of ingredients
Right.
into the pot, right? And just let it go. Then by dinner time, you have a warm, steamy pot of deliciousness, right? Just waiting to be devoured when you cuddle up, on the couch to watch Netflix. Now, I like to put a dollop of sour cream, a little cheese, some sliced jalapeno, some sliced onion. I tend to load things up a little, maybe too much.
That's okay. That's what chili is, though.
Yeah. Right?
Chili's supposed to be, the beans and the meat and just toss it in there
Put it
and
all
let
in
it
there.
stew for a while.
Yes.
Yum.
Love that. Okay, number 12, right? Number 12 of the Southern dishes that you need to eat before you die is chicken fried steak.
Oh, yes.
I think those are my 3 favorite words put together. Chicken fried steak. Okay, now if you thought fried chicken was good, get ready for chicken fried steak. It's essentially, okay, because I've had people ask me this, is it chicken? Is there chicken in it? What is the chicken part, right? Basically, it is a tenderized steak that's battered and fried the same as fried chicken.
Yep.
That's all it really means, right? AKA, it's heaven. And the South is genius for coming up with this hybrid dish. Now, to make it even better, chicken fried steak is served smothered with a creamy white gravy. Oh. This meal is great when you're extremely hungry and in need of something amazingly significant to Southern cuisine. Mm-hmm. Chicken fried steak. Hello.
Yum.
Come to me. Number 13, pecan pie.
Oh.
Now, nothing beats the richness of a Southern pecan pie. It's great for when you want something sweet for dessert, but not too overwhelming that you'll go into a sugar coma, right? Now, pecan pie is a staple during the Southern holidays. We know that, right?
Yes, it is.
It can definitely be enjoyed any time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We're the pecan capital.
Put a nice little drop of ice cream on top of that. Oh.
Right?
Yummy.
Oh, man, so good. It's easy to make. It is a very simple recipe.
It's the best part.
How about corn on the cob?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, obviously Southerners love their corn. They've got corn pudding, cornbread, classic corn on the cob, to name just a few. But, if you've ever been to the North Carolina State Fair, and I think they might even do it at the North Georgia State Fair, you know that corn on the cob is one of the foods you must have. It can be slathered in butter. I've actually had it slathered in queso.
Yep.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
Right? It's so good. And it's a classic that will, it's never not, everything's better when you're eating it.
It's true. Now I have to ask,
Yes.
Did you ever have the little corn cobs with the 2 pokers you put in each end?
Yes. Since I was a little girl.
Yes.
But eventually they end up breaking.
They do.
Yeah,
it's sad.
they don't survive forever.
I always remember those being in the drawer,
Yeah,
and whenever
in the
we'd
drawer.
have corn on the cob,
Stick
you
them
poke
in
it.
the end.
Perfect.
I love that.
Amazing.
So good. How about strawberry shortcake? Okay, sweet and fruity desserts obviously take prominence in Southern culture. Strawberry shortcake made from freshly picked strawberries and homemade shortbread is a delectable dish. Mm-hmm. It's a dessert that's perfect for the summertime. There's no better feeling than picking your own strawberries. You ever do that? Take the kids to one of those strawberry picking. I bet Cody, when he gets a little older, would love that.
Probably.
Take him to a little strawberry picking place. My kids used
That'd
to
be
love
awesome.
that.
That sounds
And then
cool.
you come home and you feel very compelled. You got to eat them before they go bad.
Right, because they don't last long.
No. So you're eating strawberry everything for the next few days. Now, cornbread. Cornbread is another Southern dish that you must have before you die. You just have to have it.
That's simple.
It's just that simple.
Make it, eat it, enjoy it.
You make it, eat it, enjoy it. Most cornbread recipes, however, don't actually use whole corn kernels to make, right? Instead, they're using cornmeal, right? Which gives it that corn flavor all Southerners know and love. Cornbread is great on its own, but it also acts as a vessel for sopping up dishes like chili or stew. You know what I'll do is I'll put a square of cornbread in the bottom of the chili bowl, then ladle the chili on top of it, and then build up from there. It's good.
Yummy.
Fried catfish, number 17.
Yes.
Now, the South has no fear of frying anything, and that includes freshly caught catfish. Now, if you're going to spend a whole day fishing, the funny thing is, I wonder, out of how many people that eat fried catfish in the South, how many of them actually caught the catfish?
Probably not that many.
Not that many.
Yeah. Catfishing ain't fun.
Oh, no. Fried catfish puts a Southern spin on fish and chips, is what it is, right? With the mild and succulent flavor of catfish. And it's a dish that if you haven't had it, you got to have it, Now, fried shrimp. Okay. And I think of this being more, down in the bayou and down along the coastal regions
maybe like
of
kind
Georgia.
of Cajun Southern,
That kind of thing. Exactly. If you've ever seen Forrest Gump, then you know there's about 1 million ways to prepare shrimp, right?
Yes, there are.
In the South, frying seems to be the preferred way to prepare a lot of things, especially freshly caught shrimp. Fried shrimp takes on the same satisfaction as chicken nuggets.
It does?
We feel a little more sophisticated eating them.
Right.
Right?
So true.
It's so true.
So
it's all
true.
fried meat, for heaven's sakes, right?
Yummy.
Anyway, fried shrimp is where, I don't know how many you can eat. It depends. I like the ones where have you ever seen where they butterfly the shrimp first and then fry it and get those wide?
Yes.
So good. Or coconut shrimp.
A little bit of cocktail sauce. And
Yum.
Perfect. Yes.
Now, baked beans. Not the Boston baked beans variety, but the Southern style. It's number 21. When in the South, Baked beans appear as a side item on pretty much every restaurant menu, right? They're also a staple at summer barbecues and cookouts. They go well with just about every Southern food. My aunt, when I would go to her house, always had a pot of baked beans cooking in the oven.
Yum.
I got busted one time when she was out of there because I always look forward to her baked beans. And I was maybe 10. And she had gone somewhere in the house, and I kind of went into the kitchen. I could smell the baked beans, and I opened up the oven to kind of peek at them, and she came up behind me and startled me.
Oh, no.
What you doing? I'm so busted. So busted. Hey, how about gumbo? Okay. Gumbo is a Creole dish known to places like New Orleans, or Nolans, as you might say. It's essentially a stew made from ingredients like shrimp, andouille sausage, rice, tomatoes, and other vegetables in a broth or a stock base. Now, gumbo is pretty perfect as a meal, right? You got your carbs, your proteins, your veggies all in one. It's healthy. It's delicious. It stick to your ribs.
Amazing.
I do like me some gumbo.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Good gumbo.
Now, a dish that I make every Christmas, and more often than Christmas, I make it throughout the year, is the good old-fashioned hash brown casserole.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a staple. I don't know that I've ever been to a brunch, or a bridal shower type of brunch that didn't include a hash brown
There's
casserole.
a crux
Right?
of mine. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah? Okay, so in the South, breakfast is pretty important, especially on, those lazy weekend mornings when the family's, getting together. Now, the easiest and most sensible thing to prepare in this situation is an epic breakfast casserole made from hash browns. You can even, you can put breakfast sausage in there if you want to. You can meat it up, if you know what I mean. Love that.
You can get crazy with it.
You can go cray-cray.
Good regardless.
On the breakfast casserole.
Yum.
Okay, how about coleslaw?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know people that hate coleslaw. I love it. I don't like it if it's too mayonnaise-y.
I was about to say, do you prefer mayonnaise or vinegary?
I like both.
Okay, all right.
I'm okay.
all right.
Or, but not too much of either one.
Right.
Now, coleslaw is another traditional side item in the South, especially with barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
Something about that cool sweetness of the coleslaw that kind of counters the savory, spicy sweetness of the, of the pork. But we
They go perfect together.
It does go perfect. King Ranch chicken casserole.
Oh, yeah.
So when I go out to Dallas every year for market out there where we do our products, they always serve this King Ranch chicken casserole for us. It's not something that I really grew up making, but it is good. This is another one of those great casseroles. It's very easy to cook. You just kind of layer everything up and bake it in the oven. It's got a little, Mexican flair to it. So you've got chicken, corn chowder, diced tomatoes, tortillas, and heaps of mozzarella cheese. You bake it all together. It's so good. There's just something about a casserole.
There is something about a casserole.
I used to shy away from them because I thought, really sophisticated cooks don't use canned condensed soup mix. But I came to see the error of my ways. I abandoned that snobbery.
Because that's
walked
the
away
one
from
thing
it.
I will say about Southern food, whether it's kind of new wave Southern or old school Southern, it's made to when you sit down and you eat it, you feel good.
Good. You just feel
That's
good.
what it's about.
And sometimes there's no substitute for a can of condensed soup.
Right.
I mean, you can
Absolutely.
whip yourself up I have recipes where you kind of do an alternative to that. It's just too much trouble. Just use the soup. Use the soup. How about fried okra?
Oh, yeah.
Upon seeing fried okra in the South, I know a lot of people wonder, what is that? What is that thing? Well, it's a green vegetable. It's filled with seeds that slightly resemble a pepper, but it's very mild. It's got almost an eggplant flavor to it. And in the South, we love to serve it up fried. It is fabulous. Have you ever had red beans and rice?
Oh, of course.
There's another great Southern staple. Red beans and rice is another classic dish. It's sort of in that Louisiana Creole culture type of thing. With the incorporation of sausage and additional spices, it makes a great one-pot family dinner. Love it. Okay. Banana pudding. Or as you might say, banana pudding.
Oh, yes.
You know
Banana pudding.
Banana pudding.
Come on.
Nothing complements Southern barbecue like sweet, creamy banana pudding. And at most barbecue joints, you will find, definitely in the South, that they will offer homemade banana pudding. It's serious.
Oh, yeah.
They are serious
Ain't
about
no
it.
game. There's full-blown banana pudding competitions.
I'm telling you. I haven't had any in a while. Some people treat it kind of like a summer dish.
Right, like a summer delicacy.
Yeah, I could eat any time of
But
year.
that's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Banana pudding on ice in the summer, perfect. Banana pudding warmed up just a little bit in the microwave in the winter.
Also perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah, also wonderful. Yum. You know what, guys? We didn't get through all 35, which means We get to roll some over to next time.
Hey.
I'm going to list these on the website as well, though. So if you want to share it with your friends, check them off. If you haven't had any of these, you need to rush out and have some immediately, right? We are so glad that you joined us on the Southern Sisters Radio Show this week. We love getting together, talking about Southern life, Southern culture. You guys have a great week. We'll see you here next week.
Steak, cake, pie, side, juice, root, tart, bart. Everybody eats when they come to my house.
Hey, y'all, it's Jenny Earhart from the Southern Sisters Radio Show. Have you checked out our website, southernsistershome.com? We have the most gorgeous array of gourmet flour sack towels. They will look fabulous in your kitchen, and they're complete with all sorts of Southern sayings, designs. Go to our website and check us out, southernsistershome.com, and guess what? We have a promo going on right now. 30% off your order. Just put in promo code SISTERS at checkout. Also, free shipping on all U.S. orders.